I was 10 years old when my father said that to me. I still remember how casually he tossed the words out, like they meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. My mother didn't say a word. My older brother snickered. And I just sat there, staring at my half-eaten dinner, feeling something inside me crack. That was my life. The extra child, the one who never measured up. My family ran a successful business, and my older brother Adam was the golden boy. He got everything: attention, praise, opportunities. Meanwhile, I was treated like a disappointment before I even had a chance to prove myself. I tried. Oh, I tried. I got good grades. I worked hard. I begged for a place in the family business. But they laughed in my face. "You'll just mess it up," my father would say. "Adam is the future of this company. You're just there." I believed them for a long time, until everything changed. Because years later, when they're perfect, world started falling apart. I was the only one who could save them. For as long as I can remember, Adam was the prince, and I was the nobody. My father built our family business from the ground up, a successful chain of luxury hotels. He always said it would be Adam's legacy, never mine. I wasn't even jealous at first. I just wanted to be seen. But no matter what I did, I was invisible. Adam could do no wrong. Even when he barely scraped by in school, our father still called him a genius. When I graduated with honors, no one even came to my ceremony. "Not like you're gonna do anything big," my mother had said, barely looking up from her phone. Then there were the jobs. Adam was handed a management position straight out of college. Meanwhile, when I asked for any role in the company, even entry level, my father laughed. "Go find your own thing, kid. This isn't for you." So I did. I left home at 20, sick of being overlooked. I struggled at first. Small jobs, crappy apartments, endless nights of self-doubt. But I found something I loved: tech. I taught myself coding, took online courses, and started freelancing. It wasn't easy, but it was mine. And then, opportunity knocked. One of my freelance projects caught the attention of a major investor. He liked my work, saw potential, and offered funding for a startup. My startup. I built a hospitality tech company, AI-driven booking and management software. Ironically, the same industry my family dominated, but in a way they never even considered. It was small at first, but within 5 years it exploded. My software was being used in hotels across the country. And the best part? I did it without them. For the first time in my life, I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their money. I had power, but I still thought about them. I still wondered if they ever realized what they had lost. Then, one day, my phone rang. It was my mother, the woman who had barely acknowledged my existence for years. "We need you," she said, her voice shaking. "The business is in trouble." I leaned back in my chair, a slow smile creeping onto my face. For the first time ever, they needed me. And I was going to make them regret everything. I should have hung up. I should have told her too bad, just like they told me all those years ago. But a part of me, a stupid, hopeful part, wanted to hear them out. Maybe this was it. Maybe they had finally realized my worth. So I agreed to meet. The moment I walked into my father's office, the memories hit me like a punch to the gut. The same walls, the same awards lining the shelves, each one celebrating Adam's so-called genius. And there he was, sitting across from my father, looking defeated. Adam, the golden boy, the heir to the empire. And for the first time ever, he looked afraid. "What's going on?" I asked, arms crossed. My father sighed. He looked older now, tired. "We're in trouble," he admitted. "Our competitors have outpaced us. Tech is changing everything. We fell behind." I nearly laughed. Of course they did. They were stuck in their old ways, too arrogant to adapt. "We need someone to help us modernize," Adam said, rubbing his temples. "You built that software company, right? We need something like that. Something like that. as if my company was just some casual side project. Still, I played along. So, you want me to help? The son who was never good enough? The loser? My father cleared his throat. Listen, I know we've had our differences, I scoffed. Differences? You mean how you spent my entire life treating me like an outsider? Like I wasn't worth your time? No one spoke. My mother shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Adam just stared at the desk. Finally, my father sighed. Look, we don't have time for this. Do you want to help or not? There it was. No apology, no acknowledgement of what they'd done, just expectation. And like an idiot, I agreed. Not for them. Not because I forgave them, but because I wanted to prove something, to myself, to them, to everyone who ever doubted me. For weeks, I worked day and night. I analyzed their failing systems, implemented my software, connected them with industry experts. I gave them everything they needed to succeed. And just when things were starting to turn around, I overheard the conversation that changed everything. I was walking past my father's office when I heard Adam's voice. I still don't trust him, he was saying. Once we stabilize, we cut him out. My blood turned to ice. You think I'd actually let him take credit for saving my company? Adam scoffed. No chance. He's just a tool. We'll get rid of him. Soon enough. Silence. Then my father's voice. I agree. I couldn't breathe. I had given them everything. I had swallowed my pride, helped the very people who had abandoned me, and this was their plan all along. I stepped back, my hands shaking with rage. They still saw me as nothing, but they were about to learn just how wrong they were. I stood there outside my father's office, fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. They had used me. Again. Should have known. I should have walked away the second they called me. But this time, I wasn't just going to leave. This time, I was going to burn it all down. That night, I went home and started working. If they thought I was just some tool, they could discard they were in for a rude awakening. See, while they were busy treating me like a nobody, I had built something real. My software wasn't just helping their business, it was their business now. Every single hotel under their name was running on my system. The reservations, the finances, the security, even their customer data. It all ran through me, and that meant I had complete control. I spent the next few days making my moves, slowly, carefully. I copied files, backed up emails, tracked every shady financial move they had made. They thought I was just some desperate little brother, grateful for their crumbs. They had no idea I was holding a loaded gun. And then, I pulled the trigger. The morning of the big board meeting, I walked into the conference room like I owned the place, because after today, I basically would. Adam was at the head of the table, flashing his usual cocky grin. My parents sat beside him, their expressions unreadable. The entire board of directors was present, waiting to hear how the company's turnaround was going. Took my seat. My father barely acknowledged me. Adam stood up. First off, I want to thank everyone for being here today. Over the past few months, we've made incredible progress. I cut him off. Correction. I made incredible progress. Adam's grin faltered. What? I leaned back in my chair, tapping on my laptop. Oh, don't let me stop you, Adam. You were about to take credit for my work, right? A tense silence filled the room. The board members glanced at each other. I don't know what you're talking about, Adam scoffed. I smirked. Really? Then maybe you'd like to explain these? I clicked a button, and the screen at the front of the room lit up. Hundreds of documents, emails, and recordings. Emails. Between Adam and my father, discussing how they planned to push me out once I served my purpose. Financial reports exposing years of shady transactions, money laundering, and tax fraud. Recordings of private conversations where they mocked board members, investors, even customers. I had everything. Gasps filled the room. What the hell is this? One board member demanded. I shrugged. Just a little proof of how things really work around here. I turned to my father. I was never good enough for this company, right? But suddenly, when you're drowning, I'm essential. And then, the second I save your asses, you plan to stab me in the back? Adam shot up from his seat, face red with fury. You little... I held up a finger. Before you say something stupid, you might want to check your email. Everyone in the room, including Adam and my father, grabbed their phones. I watched as their faces fell, because I had just emailed every single document to everyone. Investors. Stakeholders. Media outlets. This was my revenge. Not just exposing them, but making sure the whole world saw it. My father slammed his fist on the table. You don't know what you've done, I smiled. Oh, I know exactly what I've done. Chaos erupted. Board members were furious. Investors started pulling out immediately, and Adam looked like he was about to pass out. Security was called. Not for me, for them, because I had also sent all the financial evidence to the authorities. As I stood up, to leave, my mother whispered, you just ruined your family. I met her eyes. No, you ruined this family the moment you decided I wasn't worth anything. I walked out that day and never looked back. By the end of the week, my father and Adam were under investigation. The company was in free fall, and me was just getting started. It didn't take long for everything to collapse. By the end of the week, headlines were everywhere. Luxury hotel chain caught in fraud scandal. CEO and heir under investigation for financial crimes. Anonymous whistleblower leaks, damning evidence. Anonymous. That part made me laugh. It wasn't really a secret who had done it. But my name never appeared in any article. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist? Fine. Let the world think they had destroyed themselves. Adam tried to fight back. He went on TV, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, that the real traitor was someone close to them. I watched his interview from my penthouse, sipping coffee. Sounds rough, I muttered, grinning. My father? He didn't even try to deny it. He knew there was no way out. Investors backed out, lawsuits piled up, and within a month, the company folded. The empire they built, the one I was never allowed to be a part of, gone. And the best part? I had already bought out their competitors. It was almost too easy. While they were busy scrambling to cover their mess, I made my move. My company had already been expanding in the hospitality industry, but after the scandal, hotels were desperate for a clean alternative. My tech? My systems? They were the future. Within 6 months, I had absorbed nearly half of their former business partners. I didn't just win, I erased them. Adam, once the golden boy, couldn't even get a job. No one wanted to be associated with him. Last I heard, he had moved into a tiny apartment, living off whatever scraps he had left. My father? He disappeared from the public eye completely. I didn't bother checking in. My mother, well, she tried calling. One night, my phone rang. I didn't need to check the caller ID. I knew it was her. I let it ring, and then, at the last second, I answered. What? She was silent at first, then a shaky breath. I don't know what to say. I leaned back in my chair. Try sorry. More silence. Then, she whispered, Are you happy now? That made me laugh. Happy? I repeated. Oh, now you care how I feel? Now that everything's gone to hell? I never wanted this, she said quietly. I never wanted to lose you, I scoffed. You never had me. She hesitated, then asked, Can we fix this? I thought about it, about all the years I spent trying to prove myself to them, about every time they ignored me, dismissed me, told me I wasn't enough. Then I answered, No. And I hung up. I should have felt empty. I should have felt lost. But you know what? I felt free. For the first time, I didn't have to chase their approval. I didn't have to beg for scraps of love. I had built something better, and I did it without them. Now, when people say my name, they don't think of my family. They think of me, my success, my legacy. And if my father was right about one thing, it was this. I'd never be part of their world. because I had created something greater. And they were nothing but a forgotten chapter in my story.